Let me see here. I don't hear anybody right now.
Mr. Dawson, can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't have anything else right now. Are y'all hearing me?
Mr. Dawson, can you hear me?
Okay.
All right, let's see. What we got going on? Streaming. Hey, try talking on the thing here.
Hello?
All right, we
Mr.
hear
Dawson,
you.
can you hear
Can you
me?
hear us?
Um, I cannot hear you as of right now. Let's see here.
Testing.
Volume's up. I got you now. I
We'll
heard
just try one more
Jonathan
time.
there.
Mr. Dawson, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, stand by. Chairman will call you to order at 3. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Dustin, we're gonna run like 10 minutes late. We're waiting on Jim.
That's fine, no problem.
Thank you. Oh yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. Thank you. What? Fancy people like Chuck. Fancy people like Chuck. Nobody else other than Chuck. Well, that's squab is what they call that. Come on now. That's correct. Every time you're in DC and you see them scratching around, think of Chuck. But you're just shooting them as they come out of the cages, though, aren't you? Yeah, that's exactly right. Hell no, it didn't get. I hear about these people going quail hunting all the time, and they're like, or pheasant, and it's like, just stand next to the cage, open the door, and boom, man! Wait, good lord, that ain't sporting. Yeah, exactly. That's it. You're a real sportsman there, Brian. Listen, I'm not shooting birds out of a cage. I have principles. I will say I am very accurate at about 2 feet. How's your herd going, Jennifer? That's good. Good. A lot. You don't have automatic waters, do you? You fill in the trough still. Good luck. Well, there's better ways. Until you got to mow grass, it'll work just fine. Watch. Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was.
I'm just trying to figure out how to put that in the newspaper.
Yeah, put that in there. Jim? Yeah. He'll be here in just a moment. We moved through him pretty quickly yesterday. It'll be okay. What? Dr. Coonan. Yeah, no, yeah, Dr. Coonan, right up the street. You know where the Jim? No, good gosh. You know where the Masons meet? The door right next to it. Or they've moved. You need to go talk to Terry Tatum, who is across the street in that little house. That's next. Yeah, they've made that into. Yeah, exactly. They made it into a showroom. Go talk to her. Having a relationship with a vet is, and then you'll end up with Amanda Loosely. And she's very good as well. Yeah, she's very good. She'll treat you and go in the right direction. Two. They're very good. Very, very good. You got minerals out? You have minerals out for them? Need to. It's important. Miss Hoffman, you got the language for Dustin. Jim, you good? All right. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Apologize for the delay. Miss Hoffman? Or excuse me. Call to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you.
Are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
I hereby move to permit Dustin Dawson to attend the February 16th, 2023 meeting of the Madison County Board of Supervisors, meeting remotely pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-37082 and Section 2.4F of the bylaws of Madison County. Dustin Dawson is unable to attend the meeting currently scheduled for February the 16th, 2023 in person because of a personal business commitment outside the Commonwealth of Virginia. This is the second meeting Dustin has been unable to attend in person this calendar year.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Welcome, Dustin.
Thank you.
All right. We do have an agenda. We do have a quorum. We do have Mr. Yowles may come, may not. We do have an agenda in front of us. Anything we need to add to the agenda?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody?
No, I'm moving to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Public comment. Public comment. We're going to do it again later, too. Anybody? All right. Let's move right into it. Commissioner of Revenue. Mr. Daniels, come on up and talk to us.
Good afternoon.
No, just make sure it's. Yes, please. Oh, can you flip it here?
We'll move right into 1, 2, 3, 10. Just showing actually that's not even an increase on the, it's actually, I'm getting it split between this year's budget and next year's budget to do the AS400 remotely. It will alleviate a little bit on Bruce, and it's his recommendation that we host that remotely. Right now we have a physical AS400 server in my office. Been running, it's a tough old machine, but I've been advised to allow the company to remotely maintain it. Any questions on that?
Mr. Daniels, is that still going to be on premise or is that going to be moved to the cloud?
It's still an on-premise machine, but it'll be over in Stanton. Um, it's where it's actually hosted in Stanton. So they'll be in charge of the maintenance, the daily backups, those such things. Right now, we have a tape that we take and put in the machine daily, put it in the safe overnight. We have the week-long backup of those. But that will be the plan to host it remotely. We had considered moving on to a different real estate system. However, I chose not to do that at this point. I think we can still get several more years out of this company. They've been purchased by a larger company that does, I'm guessing it's a Windows server based machines and that sort of thing. But all new software. But I've elected to push that down the road at this point. I'm assuming we don't need to talk about anything that's just flatlined from last year.
not particularly.
A little bit increase on postage there, $50. Not nothing great. And then a little bit increase there on mileage of $100. Any more questions on any of?
Anybody? Dustin, any questions? I think a silence is no. All right, let's move to your next one, Brian. 30 or what's your next code?
311.
Yeah, there you go.
That is the land use program. Again, that is all flatline from previous year.
All right. Questions on the land use program? Please proceed.
312. We did have a slight uptick there. NADA valuations. JD Power bought out NADA a couple years ago, and they've steadily increased the pricing, and it's a little bit of the unknown. That's my best guess. I'm hoping that they're not going to do anything crazy. The Commissioner Revenue Association has worked out a deal with them to they were doing something crazy, but we've worked out a kind of like a statewide deal to hopefully keep that marginally increased. Any other questions on that one?
Anybody? All right, let's move on.
All right, 320.
GIS. Yeah, GIS. 81700.
Okay, 81700. Same thing, flat line there. I think the service we've getting from Hurt and Profit has been excellent. I think it's great value. That's the only thing I'll say with that.
How often they upgrade as they get new, as tracks change?
Right. So I send those to them monthly.
Okay.
With the Avinity implementation, it kind of got pushed back to maybe, there was some 2 and 3 month roll ups there. But typically we like to do them monthly and keep those updated monthly. There was some roll ups between, just didn't quite have the resources to get it caught up. And I'm still working on catching up on some of those. So it's about 3 months behind.
All right, go to, anybody got any questions on GIS? Let's go to the assessor, 12320.
All right. That one we did have quite a bit of increase there. The $7,000 increase. They contacted me, and I may have to ask for a supplemental. But he just wrapped up visitations last week, so I do anticipate probably going over on budget this year, and hopefully this will compensate for the increased cost of. They send a guy out in the field and driving, and just like everything else that's increased in cost.
All right.
Just one note, the actual reassessment is in the capital.
Yeah.
And this is just for the new construction for FY24.
Why have we missed projections so much, Brian, on going over this year and then going up $3,000 this upcoming year?
I just did not, previously I did not anticipate a price increase. We had, you know, we've been fortunate to get, I want to say it went from $27 to $33, and now it's up to 40, 48 per parcel. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
just one of the, just like cost of eggs or whatever, we didn't anticipate it.
All right. All right. Any other? Oh, you want to talk about? You want to talk about salary stuff, or are we waiting until the 23rd? I think. What I have mentioned to department heads, if they can put the request in the packet, I would talk to the board on the 23rd. So that's up to you, Mr. Chairman. Don't want to hear a justification from Brian, or just work off of his letter. Anything else other than your letter to add?
Now that I just, I think we should look at other pay grades and similar positions within the county and equalize those.
All right. We'll take up the letter. I assume you're accumulating all these for the 23rd. There you go. That work for everybody? All right. Anything else for Brian? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Noah, come on up. Talk to us about EMS. I'm sure it'll be cheap. I've come to find that. 32,600.
Good afternoon. Is this working?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. EMS budget. So the HR related, they highlighted that I'm working with finance on. Probably the biggest change is 1810 with the lieutenants. And that's in looking at, we went to a new work schedule in January of last year. We're trying to project the overtime from that, along with training, leadership training, holdovers, etc. So we're showing roughly a 40,000 increase in the lieutenant line item. I did send finance a salary letter, which we can talk about on the 23rd. So if there's no questions there, I'm going to move down to 3110, which is employee medical expenses.
Yeah.
So this line item is used for new and annual employee volunteer physical exams, required immunizations, and drug screening to include random drug screening is implemented in the updated personnel policy. This also funds our Portico mental health program. Again, working on a grant that will fund half of that. And with the increased concerns about infectious diseases and physical mental health, I support having an active program for responders' health. Moving down to operating medical director 3113. So this is used for the contract with the University of Virginia to cover the cost of having an operating medical director. The first quarter is $3,750 for 1 to 40 providers, which we're within that. If we are above that, it's $250 for an additional 10. $3114 ambulance billing service. We contract with ambulance medical billing. A percentage of revenue generated goes to the billing company, and that's what this line item funds. 3166 training services. So we've historically been able to control this line item with generous discounts from local hospitals. However, they're no longer being offered. We've worked on training in-house instructors to reduce this cost. We can do some of that training without having to source it externally. In FY22, Madison EMS became an American Heart Association training site, and it's available to other county departments who wish to become CPR certified. This line item also covers continuing education courses required for recertification, leadership training. I do have one employee who's an EMT that wishes to go to paramedic school. And then subscriptions for online training for continuing education. Any questions so far?
Is the paramedic school, is that for RAR? It says employers requested funding for, it just cut off completely. All right, so that's, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. 3323 maintenance support contract. So this line item covers items for preventative maintenance. So that's the cardiac monitors, mechanical CPR devices, AEDs, stretchers. The vendor Stryker, I reached out to them for a quote, and they're anticipating a 10% increase for that service. This line item also covers our employee volunteer scheduling program, CLIA lab fees, that's what we can do in the field testing, our inventory management, vehicle checklists, drug accountability, et cetera, is operative IQ, our medical waste processing, Robert's Oxygen, and Zoll data. So I ran reports to try and get the best total number for those services from last year to predict this upcoming fiscal year. 3510 printing, no additional asks there. I decreased our advertising line item. I've historically used Indeed, but I found that word of mouth and social media through Facebook has worked better for recruitment. 5110 electricity utilities. That's a big number, 485%. Powering that building that we rent is expensive.
If I may interject,
and
Chief
the-
Hillstrom. Yeah, so the building that was purchased across the street, that is reflecting those costs as well. We have factored that in, so that's part of that large increase.
Thank you, sir. 5230, or excuse me, postal services. That's if we have to return equipment. 5230 telecommunications. So this covers cell phones, our broadband, charting software, and SIM cards for the cradle points that are in the vehicles. Also covers the internet service Comcast. 5305 insurance. The increase there is the addition of Medic 50, which was the ambulance we acquired from the rescue squad. So adding that.
That was the new one they had, right? All right, there you go.
Yeah. 5450 is our station rent at $3,200 a month. $5530 lodging and meals. The primary use of these funds are for the training at EMS Symposium in Norfolk, Virginia. 5540 seminars and tuitions. So this will help fund the conference. The lodging and meals will help fund where people stay. 5810 dues and association memberships. So we've been part of the GIMSA, which is a large group learning, and we're also an associate member of the VAVRS, which is a volunteer rescue squad org. 6001 office supplies. Used mostly for supplying the fax and printers, toner, ink, station supplies. We're also taking on, at the request of the union, we were getting supplies from his budget. The request is for us to start doing that, so that's those numbers.
Whose budget? Who?
Facilities.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we not
Are we not working on this so that we can all order all this
We're-
stuff?
Yes, we'll go back and check. That number may also be in his, so we'll make sure we're not double booking. The difference is the frequency. We saw that this year, so what we have budgeted, we've gone over. Our custodian services don't clean that building. Noah's team does, but the frequency is the reason that, and price has gone up on supplies. So we'll make sure that it's not double booked in his and facilities and maintenance and come back with a report to you.
All right.
6008 vehicle equipment and fuel, that fluctuates. Thankfully, we're seeing better per gallon costs, but it's unpredictable. 6009, our vehicle maintenance. So that's just making sure our fleet is in service. I reduced that by 1,000. 6011, uniforms and wearing apparel. So this is one of the most important line items as it provides funding for equipment to protect our first responders. We successfully passed an OSHA inspection, and this line item funds that equipment. 6030 medical supplies. There's been a large increase in just costs in general for medical supplies from our suppliers. 8101 office equipment. It's likely there'll be an increased use of office supplies due to added personnel, and several of our printers will need to be replaced. They're over 5 years old. I have worked with Bruce to see if
We're working on that one too.
there's
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
8102 office furniture. We bought the living recliners when we first moved into the station, and they were about falling apart. So I'm requesting funding to help replace those. 8103 IT equipment to be able to replace computers, printers as needed. 8104 communications equipment. So radios are used daily, all types of weather. The current radios we have are aging. My plan is to hold out for the new radio system, but there are times when we do need to replace what we have. 8108 equipment other, requesting a Lucas mechanical CPR device, one IV pump, a binder lift, and then I'm looking at leasing ventilators. The current ones we have are failing, and I'm working with 2 vendors to come up with the best price for those.
How long have you rent a ventilator for?
Multiple options. The one I'm looking at is 5 years.
Okay.
And I did skip over one, which is the part-time lieutenant. So we're zeroing that out. The functions of 1811. So that was at 33,288. We've moved those duties amongst the leadership team. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Anybody have questions for these? We've got to start buying these like office supplies differently. I mean, I've seen, yeah, we got to do that one, and then the IT stuff the exact same way. I mean, on like your IT stuff, you're going through Bruce, though, aren't you?
We are.
All right.
Yeah. And he's actually purchased some IT equipment for us.
All right.
It's working well.
All right. Other questions for Noah? I think we're gonna have to come back to this budget. I mean, we're just gonna have to. It's a big increase. It's a bunch of stuff, and we know you need it. It's not the comment at all, but I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff in this one. All right. Anybody? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. All right. Helen, come up and see us from Central Virginia Partnership for Economic Development. Welcome.
Good morning. Helen Coffin, President, Central Virginia Partnership for Economic Development. It's fun to be here. I feel like I'm a member of your team with all the internal people presenting today, so that's kind of fun. I'm here to, first of all, thank you all so much for supporting us for a number of years. We represent Madison County, 7 other counties, so from Culpeper down to Nelson and City of Charlottesville. Jonathan serves on our board of directors, and Tracy Gardner is a very active member of our local economic development partner group that meets monthly. Our request is flat. We have no increase. I will say, last time I was here, I was talking about our new livingcentralva.org website and our talent retention attraction initiative. That's going very well. We have 3 UVA interns, a Germanna Community College intern, and we're still trying to bring on board a PVCC intern to talk to students about starting their careers in Central Virginia, really trying to promote the companies and the many openings we have right here. But with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have.
Questions for Helen? And y'all are looking right now for site ready
Yes.
type of locations. Is that right?
Right. So Madison has been included in one of our grants to do site readiness. We're looking at another one, and I've been talking to Tracy about that. For example, and I don't want to say what the sites are because they're confidential, but you guys have a couple of pretty good sites, but they haven't had due diligence done, and they're privately held, but we'd love to help get those private property owners to come on board so that we can more actively market their property for the uses that you would like.
And are you working with and through Tracy to get to these private
Yes.
properties?
Yes, I would never be able to get to them myself.
No.
So.
I mean, but are we doing our due diligence through you all?
She is doing her best.
All right.
I think the thing that's going to turn the corner is the current General Assembly is looking at $200 million for site readiness. That is starting to make every locality think more seriously about this. Big money out there. How can we use it to help even our local you all don't own land that you want to use for economic development purposes.
Well, we tried. Keep going.
And so I think that's going to really just raise our ability to promote it more strongly. So we're really excited about that. Some of it's for mega sites. Our region, we don't really even want mega sites. I had a client in town this weekend. They were looking for a 50,000 square foot building or 50 acres. That's much more in our wheelhouse than 1,000 job, 1,000 or 500 acre project.
Okay. Jonathan, do you have any comments about this one?
One of the biggest things, and I appreciate Helen, her and her team. So part of the Realtor Roundtable we just encourage to make sure our inventory is updated because if it's not on the market, that's one issue. It cannot meet site readiness. And then, the other things, if it's on the market, does it have the utilities there already installed? So there's a difference of, is it ready to go with a commercial pad or improvements to be made? But we at least want to make sure that listings are active in the system. So Tracy and Helen can continue to do the good work to promote those sites.
Question, Helen?
Mr. Chairman, I have one. Ms. Coffin, these prospective sites, what would you envision them, the possibilities that these sites could host? What type of industries or businesses?
Well, I tell you, the way we work is we bring all of our localities everything we see. So we let you decide. Everybody has target markets. We helped do that report many years ago now, but we've updated that through Go Virginia. So we have target markets. Each locality has their specific targets, but it's really, and I'll give you an example. Every now and then we'll get what I call kind of a dirty manufacturing. And in our region, Greensboro, North Carolina, where I was, they would have an interest in kind of heavy industrial, a dirtier type plant. Here, nobody wants that. And so that's something that we'll let everybody know about it, but we know that that's not going to be something we submit for or work really hard on to get here. I will say I don't think that Madison County's looking at this, but data centers are really hot right now in almost all of our localities, not just Culpeper. That's pretty interesting to see because they're just huge revenue generators, but you also see they're controversial. So that's, again, up to each locality. Is that something you're interested in or not? I love the Hidden Pines. Is that the right name?
Yeah.
I love that for you all. It was a $500,000 project. Really fit what our region needs. We just don't have meat processor packers as to the extent that we need them. That's a need throughout the region. In fact, we probably use 3 or 4 more, not just that one. But to me, that was a really neat fit for your region, for your locality. So it's really up to you. If I go to Tracy and she'll say, nah, we'd never do that here. Or we'd love to do that here.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you all.
All right. All right. The animal shelter. Ms. Hammock, come on up. You want to chime in on this, Greg? No? No. All right. We gave you an opportunity. Ah.
Hi there. I'm not really asking for any money. I'll go over everything with you. Let's see. Line 3610, advertising. We're decreasing that due to the actual expenses being lower. 5110, electricity, increasing to cover the cost. 5230, telecommunications, increasing to cover the expenditures for the year, the increase. 6004, animal care medical supplies. I'm decreasing that due to the actual expenses being lower. 6005, cleaning and janitorial, increasing it due to the actual expenses being more. 6011, uniforms. I'd like to, we've already added the uniforms, but I'd like to keep up with that so that we all look professional. And I'm also asking for 1510 and replacing the part-time position with full-time. And that's already in the budget.
All right.
Karen, changing it, didn't that decrease your overall in the personnel?
Yes.
Just-
Actually, my FY 23 versus 24, it's saving $6,729.
Oh, yeah,
So I'm actually have
that was
plenty
the
of
first
money.
thing I noticed. It's very
Yes.
good. Your recommendation from taking your assistant from part-time to full-time, just need that kind of labor essentially?
Need the extra help, yes, and she's a committed employee that can back me up.
All right. All right, questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Greg Cave, come on up. We expect to see the same thing here.
Pretty much it.
Yeah, that's about what we figured. 35,103.
All right. So again, really not that many changes. Did ask for an increase for both positions within my department. Scrolling on down, I did increase fuel due to suspected gas prices, which is line item 6008. I increased at 1,400. So instead of asking for more money, we try to go through and try to move money around. So we decreased line item 3610, advertising, 300. Decrease 6009, vehicle maintenance, 500. Line item 6021, which is record books and tags, 400. And also decreased line item 8102, which is office furniture, 300, because we were able to salvage some of the office furniture from Brick Road before that was sold. So we reduced it $1,500. So we're basically just moving money around. As far as any capital improvements, really don't have any. We probably going to have to visit replacing one of the animal control trucks in like 5-6 years.
We're going to need to replace it in 5 or 6 years? Yeah, that's a good time frame. Good. That's excellent.
So we're just watching it right now, but They're doing good right now.
Good.
Other than that, that's it.
That's 1852. That's not terrible.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the request for the salary change, I've made notes in the comments section, but the orange, is just today's actual salaries, not increased. But I wanted to make note that it would be 27,542 between salary and fringe if the increase is approved in the future.
Are we going to have, I mean, I'm putting blue X's next to every department that's talking pay increases. You're going to put together some type of spreadsheet that shows all both salaries, compensation packages as far as benefits. And then I'd assume that we're also going to run that against what the state's talking about at the 7%.
Absolutely. The state is the big driving force. I mean, I don't think that's news for anybody that's in the room or not in the room today as far as requests. We have taken in, whether we've done salary studies or a department head has made a request, we have those. But it's the big thing what the state's going to do. Right now, the state's tracking, I think, 7%. And that would affect schools' requests as well as what's done on the county side. So, yes, we will have those, both the 7%, the overall number, and then individual numbers. But I would say the 7%, if that comes about, it's going to make it very difficult to do adjustments. That's
The only other one with the spreadsheet that I'm asking for, are you going to be able to add these narratives into that somehow, like not on the spreadsheet, but just attach it so that, I mean, they've spent all this time writing these things.
Absolutely.
Might as well review those. Does that work for everybody? You might as well. We'll do them all at the 23rd and have a pleasant time. Yes, ma'am.
My spreadsheet will show not only the request, but the fringe impact as well. And we'll make sure that all of the requests are in there.
Anybody got any questions for Kay? Thank you. Thank you. All right. This is convenient. Miss Warren. That'll be finance 12,420.
All right. So in the personnel section, we have current salaries information as well as current benefits for the team. No changes there. And getting to 3127, accounting services, finance. Historically, that's been a higher number because the county, prior to having a finance director, was paying a consultant. So now that we do have a full-time finance director, we can decrease that down. I'm projecting $20,000 and in just needs for outside consulting services there, and that's a decrease of 39,000. And then I have decreased our postal services based on historical usage, and leased office equipment I've decreased based on our actual lease, as well as the mileage. I've reduced that slightly down. On seminars and tuition, there is an increased request of 2,000 up to from 3 to 5,000 for our current HR. Tilly Struthers is becoming SHRM certified through a program called SHRM, and she's starting that program here in the next month. So I've increased for her to become certified, and that's through an HR certification program. And dues have increased just slightly by $50. Software subscriptions, those have gone down slightly based on actuals. And then the other big one is IT equipment. I've decreased that one down to $2,000. We do not anticipate, we have new printers for Munis, so we don't anticipate any major IT equipment purchases. So overall, a decrease of about $15,000.
All right, question from Ms. Wall. No, this is a good trend. Now, all right, I'll go down two paths real quick. I asked Jonathan about Noah's group, and he had that one employee that wanted to go to paramedic school, I think. And we do have a policy on retention or payback if the person stays or goes. Is that correct?
That part, we administratively, we will have to add that to the policy, but it is legally allowed. I put that in their letter. We do have a reimbursement policy, which also requires department heads to fill out a request form. We have in the personnel policy in the appendix, there's a request. So we're given notice of what's this for? Is this applicable? What's the funding? So we can program that in.
All right, so that one I think is real important because we're investing. It's kind of a two-sided deal. The other one, and I'll pick on, I guess, Tilly, just because she's on here. We all know Tilly does just a fantastic job, and anything we can do to help her do better. I mean, good job. We've seen from at least two departments, I guess, at this point, building and zoning, and then the other one, what was the most recent one with the jumps that were on it? I thought we had another one recently that had incremental increases based on training.
Building and zoning, I think Parks and Rec at your Parks and
there
Rec
you go. That's the one I was
meeting,
looking for.
which that may come over the day. I'm not sure. We'll see when Lindsay and them get here. The goal behind that, and we really started the challenge, if you will, to department heads last year is come up, and again, it has to be applicable, but come up with a certification plan instead of just, increasing. What is that based off of? One, they're raising their aptitude and, they've got certifications, applicable job. Two, it has to bring added value of services to the county. So Parks and Rec may have one today. You've seen it at the Parks and Rec board level. We're working on one through Brian's office right now with different officer levels that come with different certifications.
Is there a way, and I've asked you, is there a way that right now it seems like we're doing it departmentally? Is there any way that we could standardize this to some extent?
We could look at it.
I mean, it seems like, we know Brian's office, you had, she's still there, or she, yeah. So, we had increases with that weren't those tied to comp board stuff. But, they kind of said Miss Murray had the same deal going on, basically. It seems like we should have some kind of standardized policy or
Are you,
something.
to that effect, on a monetary level, are you looking for
Yeah.
equal increases for those certifications? Because they may be a little different value. So, for example, in the building department side, instead of hiring another inspector, like if you're an ENS inspector, which does the stormwater review stuff, but you're able to get your building certifications where you can inspect, well, go look at that. Or vice versa. If you're a building inspector, you're on the job site anyway, go look at the silt fence, get your ENS certification. So there may be some different values, but we can look and bring it back to the board.
The different values is right, but I do think that we're essentially developing long-term policy past, and no offense in any way, but past our current employees and current board, and it can always be amended. But it would seem like this would be an opportunity to set up some type of spreadsheet that we can keep and kind of keep working off of, so that every time somebody gets a new certification, it's not, we've got that already in place.
Right.
Does that makes sense at all?
Yeah.
I just think it's something we need to develop, and it's something investing in our employees, I think, is a win all the way across the board. But we might as well keep this stuff and have it centralized.
Yes, sir.
All right. Other questions from Ms. Warren? Comments, I guess. All right.
I did have an
yes,
auditor one. I don't see it in the folder, did we? The auditor? Oh, it's another one. My apologies. It's in another folder.
All right. 12-4-20. Or no, excuse me. Let's go to the auditor one. What's the number on this?
It's 12240. My apologies. I forgot we put it in a separate folder. So this is our county audit services. I have a decrease of $500. That is for the full audit that we do at the end of the fiscal year. Cost allocation audit also is a zero impact there. We had last year, I just wanted to note FY23, the reason it's $9,000 is because we had 2 years to audit in FY23. We were behind. So we did FY20 and FY21 audit that year, but it is, we're planning to do one audit for FY22 at 4,500. The pre-audit services, Mary Earhart's services, I met with her yesterday and her rates are increasing. I have received an engagement letter from her for FY23 pre-audit services. And if we stick with the same level of services that she provided previously, her services will go from about 23,500 to what we budgeted, and we spent about 22,000 to 30,000. So that is an increase. I am going to, I told her I'm going to do everything I can to scale back the need for pre-audit services. So I think we'll be able to make that a zero impact to the county. I don't think that's a problem as we're getting more organized with things. So, but I did want to at least put that figure in here for you to see, because she does have a rate increase. And then the valuation, actually, let me move this over. The accounting services treasurer, that's a $1,500 for the treasurer's office. She has not used any this year, but we put that back in for her. And then OPEB valuation services. I put a note per the statement of work for FY23 year-to-date expenses of $8,300. That was in the statement of work, and I looked at the statement of work for next year, and we're only projecting to have a $2,500 bill for FY24. That's why that's decreased down $6,000. So that is an accurate number, and so it's a net impact of zero, and it could be even a savings if we are able to cut back on pre-audit services.
Sound right to everybody?
Yes.
The pre-audit, the comment that comes to me on the pre-audit stuff is when we had our previous finance director, she was doing a lot of the pre-audit services. And I guess that if we went back to, like, I don't know, trying to think, when did it go late?
April of 2021.
Yeah, I remember having to go up the year after she left. I assume that your by going into the Tyler unit system, that should make it easier, hopefully. And then your skill set the same way on.
My expectation is that because we have half of a fiscal year in RDA and half of a fiscal year in Munis, it's going to be I'm going to need some support from pre-audit, but as far as, drilling through grants and things like that, I think we're getting a lot more organized that we won't need as much support on that side.
Thank you. All right. Anybody? All right, Mr. Weaver, come on down. Candace. 31,200. That's a fair way to operate. Yeah, get one.
Which one you pick? Let's do court. That would be easy.
Which one's first in this packet? Let's start with that one. Yeah, court. We're starting with court.
It's actually a decrease. We decreased our part-time hours based on the amount of days we had court. And as for 2022, we had 167 days of court.
Well, I thought there was going to be more for jury trials and things of that nature that we heard about. No, you got a decrease. I mean, we're moving in the right direction here. I mean, what's going to slap us in the face here in just a second or what? Yeah, it's not good. All right. Questions on court. All right, moving to the next one. Go to the general fund.
All right, 31,200. The first is the overtime. We are projecting an increase. Do you have the other spreadsheet with that, Jennifer? Oh, darn it, myself. Yeah, it should be 3 and a half. Here's the question. So that is our projected overtime. The one in highlighted actually affects our court security budget. And the reasoning for OT is you've got fairs, street festivals, tractor pulls, special events, highway safety. We are actually in the process of doing a grant for highway safety. Shift coverage. The sheriff will go more into the K9 unit. And what ifs. We have a lot of what ifs. Last night we had a what if that we had to call people out for. And there's things you can't plan for.
Never heard it characterized as the what ifs, but we understand.
I don't know what else.
It's a point well taken. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you want to go back to the regular one now?
Yeah.
So the full-time went out with the new SRO position that was approved back, I think it was at the end of December. Jennifer went in and added all the fringe benefits and everything into that, so that'll show an increase as well. 3117 is 10,000, and that's for a drunk dog. Sheriff will go more into detail on that. 3323 is your maintenance support contract. We are asking for $9,888. Three things into that. There's a cell halt contract, which our investigation is using, Lexipol increase, and then our annual drone subscription, which was removed from Fund 30 and put into the general fund. 3330, 3 additional cameras, and a subscription for performance and tagging videos and pictures within Axon. Police supplies 6,010, just an increase in ammo. Everything's going up. You can't control it. We don't know what it is. Outside services, maintenance to the shooting range. Our shooting range hasn't been updated 15 years ago.
Is it something we could get Mooney to do?
Yes, actually, hire an outside agent to come in after.
And to extract the lead. How and Roger used to do it?
He was contacted. I don't
No,
know.
no, but where I'm going, no, I'm not saying that. I don't see Roger out there with a shovel and a metal detector. I was thinking, but was it part of maybe Roger's budget, or has it always been under your?
It's never in my budget.
Yeah, we'll look to see who that vendor is. And in the future, though, for capital planning, there will need to be more than just extracting the lead. So that'll come at a future date. But this will get us through, I would say, safely this year, Sheriff. Okay.
What else you need in the shooting range? Oh, good trick, great. All right, good. Keep going, Kansas.
7001 is Blue Ridge Task Force. We joined back into the task force back in July, and we are upping that back to 2, additional 2. We pay for the dues out of a different account, so this is more supplies or anything like that we need. Office equipment 8101 is more filing cabinets for the record room.
We don't have file cabinets hidden somewhere that we can give the sheriff's office. I mean, it seems like those things kind of float around like crazy.
Y'all need specialized ones? Yeah. That's the best kind. Everybody agrees.
We will check our inventory
That's what we're
and
talking about.
we will reach out to the sheriff's office to see the needs. And
Thank you. It seems like people are just giving those things away all the time. Questions on this budget? What happened to our last drug dog? What happened to our last drug dog? Retire. All right, there you go. Okay. Anybody? I think this is another big one though, and I think we're just gonna have to come back to it, like EMS. I'm not saying there's specific items that we shoot at, but or that we there you go. But I do think it's one we're gonna have to revisit just because it is such a large dollar value.
One thing I would like you to look at.
No, please.
K9, as you know, we've been talking the last several years. Fentanyl, cocaine,
That's
crack,
bad.
meth, yesterday, during youth meetings, we get overdose of 17-year-old schools. Police being this program. It's coming our way.
Yeah.
It's fine. My man Joe May trying to explain to him the ups and downs where they find $5 a pill with more than bring in something $30 a pill. All they do is put money in the pocket. We're having to deal with these people on a daily basis.
Hey, I interrupt. So the deal is, you smell pot inside a car, you can't service the car.
It depends how old you are, Jack. If you're under 21, yes, you can. 18, over that.
So that's why you need it.
They just all be trained for coke, crack, meth, and sex. No more marijuana. No more coke.
Well, it's a shame we're at that spot, Mike.
It is.
It's just crazy. Yeah, let's. We know you've got like salary stuff. That's going on the list. So I think we leave that off, but we do need to talk about these capital items. You've got the 151s, 4 cars.
Yeah, 2 used and 2 new, or 2 new and 2 new.
All right, and is that?
2 civilian hobs and 2 small.
All right.
What we do, we take the 2 civilian used we have now, and trade in 2 new civilians. This
In
same.
I'm trying to remember if we did it this last year or not. In past fiscal years, when we get close to the end of the fiscal year, we go ahead and order those cars so we can book them on the current year instead of the future year.
That's correct.
Did we?
Sometime in May.
Yeah, that's exactly. Did we do that last year or not? Does anybody remember? We did. Are we planning on doing the same thing? And does this 4 cars?
If the board gives us go ahead and show it. If that program is available.
I think we could take a look. If I'm tracking correctly, Jennifer, I think there's a supplemental coming back of like 170 or 80 some thousand in that category. Was that for vehicles? We'll have to pull our capital list.
Y'all need to pull it, and of course it'll be what it needs to be. But it seems like the cars, if we, thank God everybody's so sharp about this, but when the fiscal year ends and the new one starts, it seems like every dealership goes up slightly on their governmental cars coincidentally. Yeah, so we probably should take that. The 4 cars going to the 2 new and the 2 civilian cars. Does that keep us on a realistic rotation?
Mr. Chairman, we'll have this on our capital list.
Yeah.
We've taken every department's capital when it's like vehicles or billings or whatnot. It'll be on one capital list. But if we are money positive, I've got some notes here and some different things. We certainly will approach that department and the board to see purchase now if we're fund positive before the end of the year, which would help lighten the load on your FY24.
Thank you. And I know we're going to talk about this again, but we got them here in front of us. Your other items, the 91,236, that'll also be in there. That's how many AID or defibrillators? How many of those? 10 of those. 2,500 a piece for them, roughly.
And then the taser, more than happy to discuss with you. Maybe able to put over next year.
How many tasers? Wasn't it like 66K in tasers? How many tasers do you get for 66K? Yeah, okay. Pricey. All right, 20 tasers, and this.
So I'm sure we could work something out. An item as we go down we do not get
As always. Anything else in that group?
800. That was it, sir.
All right. Question for the sheriff or Candace? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. All right, everybody get tough. Brad Jarvis. Come on.
Did you say that was in that packet? Oh, I have that.
That's the way to be. Thank you, Jarvis. Yeah, we can do that. Here, I'll do it again. So you gave me. There you go. All right, Jarvis.
All right. Well, thank you for having me and present the extension budget. When you look at our budget, we do have some increases to our budget compared to last year. One of our biggest increases is due to a General Assembly vote after a salary study of extension agents in the state of Virginia compared to adjoining states. The General Assembly chose to appropriate additional funds for agents' salaries. That was actually backed by our local farm bureaus and really the people that we work with went to bat to make sure that they supported any motion of the General Assembly to do that. So I think it was less than 10%. I worked with Jonathan and we went through that to make sure that it wasn't a terrible increase. And so that is our biggest increase, other than a normal raise for a county paid program technician. That's Mary Wise, who works out of our office helping with 4-H programs. Our supply budget is fairly level funded for supplies for the coming year. And so overall, our budget increase is roughly around 8%. There, she has it already right there. It's 10% exactly. I didn't calculate that, but thank you for doing that. Also in that instructions, you can see that that includes our summer intern. We cost share that with Virginia Tech. So Tech pays half of the intern. We pay half the intern with county funds. That's a great program for us to help us get through the fair, get through 4-H camp, get through our summer workshops. Right now, our intern program has been very successful. We have actually 6 extension agents in the state of Virginia that were our interns in Madison County. So they moved on to careers in extension. Also, there is our pesticide container recycling program that is in the budget, but that's a reimbursement program. So you pay the bills and then the Virginia Department of Agriculture reimburses you for that amount of money. That recycling center is at the Orange Madison Co-op. There's a bin there that farmers can take their properly rinsed containers and dispose of them at the co-op. It's a great help to the co-op as well because they produce a lot of empty containers with their custom application business as well. So it serves them really well. What I handed you was our ROI, return on investment. I like to feature a program. So the top page is featuring our ag literacy program. Our ag literacy program consists of monthly programs with 3rd grade students, all agriculture-based programs in school, finishing the year with a field day at the Madison Young Farmers Grounds. Those programs are supported by the Madison Farm Bureau and the Madison Young Farmers. They help pay for the kids' lunches. They buy ag books for them to read during Literacy Week. And it's a program that we actually do every year. We just featured it in our ROI. It touches, as you can see on the program, 351 youth go through that program each year. The second page of that is the actual dollar amounts. You can see your appropriation that we requested in the current fiscal year of $136,000. That is only a portion of our budget. The other, what we operate on actually is state dollars as well. We have 3 staff members that are totally on state money that are housed here in Madison County. And you can see that state allocation over $400,000. We're pretty aggressive with grants as well. We actually, this year, we don't usually do this, but we had a good year with grants. Our grant fundings was greater than the county allocation. That includes some big grants. That includes the Hidden Pines meat processing plant. That includes another full scholarship to Virginia Tech from a local philanthropist. I needed another scholarship. I had requested it, so she appropriated another $25,000 to that scholarship program. And then, of course, the bread and butter, what makes our programs work the best is the fact that we use volunteers extensively to do our programs. And if you put an hourly rate, or if you put a rate on what the value of their time is donated to the program, it's a little over $114,000. So the return on investment of what money you provide Extension is every dollar you invest, we give you back $6.21. If you take the volunteers out because you're not real comfortable with adding volunteer hours into that mixture, because we actually use a federal hourly rate, which is relatively high, by the way. But if you actually take all the volunteers out and zero it out and not give them credit for all the work they do, we still have a return of investment of $5.37. So we hope we're worth your investment. We're very aggressive programming. We're out. Our next project's coming up is coming up this weekend. We're doing a buyer's appreciation dinner for all the buyers that buy 4-H livestock at the Madison County Fair. Also, we're hosting Congresswoman Spanberger at Graves Mountain Lodge next Tuesday, which I will officially invite the Board of Supervisors and Jonathan to, if you'd like to attend. She'd welcome you to be there. We're going to talk about ag issues related to Madison County.
Yeah, we cannot. We can only have two of us there.
Right.
And that's what it is. Keep going, Jarvis.
And so y'all going to decide who's going to go. I'm sure Clay's going to be there with his affiliation with the Farm Bureau. So it's nice to have her in the town to look at these ag issues. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Got anything? Jarvis brings a bunch to the table. I have one critique though, and that's more us. We can't get him into like a spreadsheet or something so we get away from this proposal type.
That is actually your contract with Virginia Tech you're looking at. So once you sign that, that is.
That's fine. That's fine. Everything looks the same, and then we come to yours.
Well, I think Jennifer actually has the same
buck.
spreadsheet on me, but that is actually the contract that we send back to Blacksburg, confirming that you actually paid for services.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. That was all. Anybody else got anything for?
We like to confuse you a little bit.
Yeah, no, this is not a good way. I mean, there's writing all over it. If this is a contract of Virginia Tech, it's good Lord, this is pretty poor. The Institute of Higher Education.
There were just notes to help you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Anything else for Jarvis?
Mr. Chairman, I just did want to make a couple of comments. This is, despite it not being in standardized form, I really do appreciate the information that Mr. Jarvis puts together and explains what his program's doing and where all the other funding's coming from. And then just aside from that, you know, he's been here for many years in Madison and has really done an excellent job. So I want to commend you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Jarvis.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Eames. And Jim. All right. Oh. Thank you. Oh.
All right. Good afternoon. So we've got two budget groups for you, one for the registrar and then one for the electoral board. So I'll get started with the registrar's budget. Everything on ours is essentially the same except for a few that you'll notice. One that went up is our clerical request, and I'll go into a little bit more detail with that one in just a second. We did go down $100 on data processing services. We just felt like we weren't using all of that, so we dropped it down a little bit. And then advertising, we requested to move that line item from my budget to the electoral board's budget since it is used for elections. So you'll see that when Jim presents in just a second. And then postal services, we went down by $1,000, just a projected lower amount of mailing with not having redistricting, and a little bit less on that side. So we dropped that by 1,000, and then just went up on mileage a little bit since there's a little bit of a rate increase there and more projected travel for in-person trainings. The requested increase for clerical, we can break that down by a couple different reasons. So this year coming up is our big election year that we have every 4 years, where we'll have a presidential primary, our June primary, and then the November presidential election. And then you also have the probability of having a risk limiting audit or special election thrown in there if anything happens. So this year we have to budget for 4 elections instead of our typical 3. So you'll see a slight increase everywhere when it comes to the electoral board's budget in just a second. But for that, the assistant the assistant money is going up, hopefully, so that we can just have more coverage in the office. So with at least 3 and possibly 4 elections, what we're requesting is a part-time worker 5 days a week the whole time that we have early voting going on. So that's 45 days of early voting, 3, possibly 4 times, which comes out to more than half of the year. The reason that we need that is because with the option of curbside voting for people who are 65 or older or disabled, it takes one of us out of the office. And if you only have one person in there, then the office either has to be locked and closed down, or you have to disregard the person who's waiting outside while someone inside is continuing to vote. It makes it hard to use the bathroom or any basic things when you only have one person in there. So we'd really like to move to where there's constantly 2 people in the office at all times during early voting.
Okay.
Any questions or anything I can explain with any of that?
There is one correction I wanted to point out that I have fixed on my side on 1520 on her budget clerical. You'll see 31,973 in the proposed fiscal year 24. That number I've updated it to the 32,609.28 per her request.
And last year we did have about 5,000 more in my budget for that. And then, well, I guess the year before the current year, so fiscal year 22. And then when I did this one, I lowered it just based on the fact that we hadn't utilized all of it and didn't need it this coming year. So the request looks bigger than it probably actually is if you go by that. But hopefully it won't stay that way. You know, it's just a hectic year with rising costs in elections and staff that's needed to keep the office covered and everything like that.
Question for Lauren. Thank you, Lauren.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Jim.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Jim?
I have just a couple of notes put together. No, really. I've given you comments concerning the job description actually of electoral board and the general registrar's office. I've had a number of comments, exactly who are we, what are we, and how are we. The how we are is the easy. We are appointees under Article 2 of the Constitution. There shall be electoral boards in each of the jurisdictions, and the electoral board is probably most important, while their primary duty is to run elections. And we do that through a myriad of different people that help. The primary one, obviously, is our general elector, and we've got our general registrar, and we've got a terrific one. We also are responsible for hiring the folks who actually run the precincts on election day, who are out for the big bucks and work from 5 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night if everything goes smoothly. We've got over 50, and so for each election we have, they are called out to do their thing. In the past, as Lauren said, this is a heavy year for us. It's not as heavy as it could be because the Republicans decided not to have a primary. They followed the portion of the creed that says to be fiscally responsible at all levels of government, so they're doing it on their own. We found that for SD 28, the Senate district we're in, it's knocked on the door of $100,000 for a single party primary. Here in Madison, we figured 15,000 is what we're saving by that courageous move on their part. So they're to be thanked. As we go forward, budgets were put together, and I should brief you and letting you know that the budgets were done on a zero based budget basis. Everything you see here is a known and measurable increase or decrease for a known and measurable action, except for the fact that, as Lauren mentioned to you, we've padded the cost for one extra election. And we hopefully that doesn't happen. Because if it happens, it's either because of an audit that we have or special election owing to a retirement or a death. And so we certainly hope we don't have those, so that number could be high. There is an increase on line 3323, maintenance support contract. We've found out since we submitted this that in order for us to reinstate the maintenance agreement we have on our equipment, which was canceled after it was paid for, we would have to pay for the lag, and it just makes it prohibitively expensive. We won't do that. It's our understanding that we are self-insuring, and in the first budget meeting, we're putting together so we can determine what to set aside. I think we can safely remove that item, that correct from our subsequent findings.
Unless you want to leave it in there for maintenance.
Yeah.
Leave it outright.
Right, but all of our equipment is the same age. I don't know the mean time before failure. We're trying to get that information. So that is a number that's a guess. It's not a wild guess, but it is a guess. And I think that's it. We would be remiss if we didn't thank the sheriff for covering us for security on election day and for our emergency manager coordinator here, Mr. Helm, who covers us for emergency situations. He knows about it. They're standing by. We don't. There's a fairly significant increase in office supplies that we have taken on. That is because we have on-demand printing for ballots, as we have to keep track of voting on a precinct basis now. So the early voting, which is probably 40% of the voting here in Madison, is done here in the office. That's why we have to double up on people. It was so much less expensive for us to purchase the two printers to print on-demand ballots than it would have been just to order ballots. And it was on a present value basis, it just made no sense to do anything other than that. Any other questions?
Yeah. Just since you got my answer, you said the sheriff does the security. What did other counties hire private security? I'm just
No. Some do, but we have coded messages between us and the sheriff, so we don't have to answer 25 questions with the dispatcher.
Okay.
And that's coordinated in advance, so they know to come rolling. There are a lot of crazy people, even here.
And a lot of that, I think, too, Clay, is probably like county ordinance type thing. So your precincts can hold up to 5,000 people, and if they have a county ordinance that requires security for less than 5,000, some of them have to hire people to stand there all day.
Nobody's ever said that before. Kind of called me.
Something we don't have to worry about here.
No. Well, let's hope we never have to.
And one other thing that we probably want to point out is that my salary, the electoral board salary, and then hopefully a large portion of the March presidential primary is all refunded. So ours not completely, but majority of it, of our salaries are refunded from the state, and then the General Assembly refund, or in all prior years, has given a large kickback to the March presidential primary. So the county fronts that money, but then we do get a good amount of it back, hopefully.
Hey, one other thing that we have done is we've broken out education and training, not only for Lauren and her staff, but for the electoral board and the officers of election. We, as I said, the Constitution sets forth our duties. The statute each year and the statutory regulations and interpretive regulations are in this manual. This manual is what's called the manual, Administrative Rules and Regs, that the electoral board is supposed to be on top of. Lauren's group is supposed to be on top of, and then we have to update all the officers of election each and every year. So we have training for them. We've started compensating them for attending the training because they have to come out and do it. We have to put it together, and that's all part of the package that the state pays us the big bucks for. It's getting much more difficult for our officers of election to know what's going on. For the last 4 years, we've had sizable increases. And we watch the legislation that's coming up. It looks like that with the split majorities in the two houses, that we won't have much this year. A couple that really won't cost us. The thing to watch very, very carefully is if there is a move afoot in some quarters for ranked choice voting. It's an option now. There are folks that would like to make it mandatory for local elections. It'd be very, very costly, and nobody understands what happens. So consequently, very few people will trust the outcome. But we're watching that, and we're good this year.
Any questions? No. Thank you very, very much, Lauren. Thank you both. All right. Virginia Regional Transit, or VA Regional Transit, Phil Thompson. I don't think Phil's here. So we're going to skip Phil. You know Phil? He's coming. Yeah, we're a little early. We can go to somebody else. I don't know Cindy either. Bonnie's not here. She hadn't come over from the library. No Jerry. Yes, sir. I see you back there, John. Do we have anything for John? It's Foothills, isn't it? Foothills Housing, yeah. Yeah. Where is that? No, that's fine. That's fine.
Back on the rain today.
What? That very well usually blank.
For those of us who aren't familiar with Foothills Housing Corporation, we own 163 affordable rental homes in and around the area. 2 and 3 bedrooms. Most of them rent for about $11.50 on average. So it's our workforce housing, folks, first responders, that kind of our teachers, whatnot, that might qualify to live with us. Aside from our affordable housing, we own and manage those homes. Aside from that, we have our emergency home repair program, and we're budgeted to spend about $120,000 this year. Most of that will be granted to folks under 60% AMI, so our lower income folks, and that they have to own a home. So it's an emergency repair that might enable them to stay in their home and perhaps age in place. It could be a new well, it could be just a well pump, it could be a drain field repair, a roof repair, or maybe even roof replacement, unsafe flooring, bathrooms being expanded for handicapped folks and widened doors. We're working with Heroes Bridge on our veterans programs for them to make repairs to their homes, again on grants. Most of them might be grants. There's some lending lending that goes on a little bit for folks who have the ability to pay. And if they do, we don't charge interest at all on our loans, and we don't have any loan fees. And the money that they repay to us goes automatically into our revolving account where we make the loan back out to other families. So it's revolving money. Thank you all very much for the kind donations for many years. Your dollars, 100% of your dollars go to your constituents for home repair. The list that I just provided to you will show you that your kind donation last year, we exceeded that with the money that we provided here in Madison County. And so we don't take any administrative costs from your donation. 100% of that is provided to constituents. The ramble on, this is probably not what we do.
All right, you're asking. I feel like we've done this before, John. You're asking for $7,500.
Yeah.
You've asked for 7,000 for years.
Many years. Just keep me at
7,000. All right, and this is a good way to do this.
I only say that if you gave us 20, I'd spend 20 on your folks here because 100% of it. I'll just answer it that way. But if I fit in at 7, I'm grateful. I'm glad to be here, and we'll just keep on going. But it just allows me to help more folks. Again, we don't use any of those dollars for administrative costs. So, and the other side of that is we feel like if it's all homeowners, and it is that we make repairs to, Clay, that it allows those folks to continue to pay taxes, live in their home, and that comes back to you all your tax dollars. But I'll stop.
All right. We used to give you housing at Thrift, or not housing, but an office at Thrift.
Yes, sir.
Are you still at Thrift?
No, sir. You've very kindly provided us an office here 3 days a week. And
where is that? Tracy's. All right,
Yes,
that's
sir.
fine. I'm
Yes,
just curious.
Yeah.
All right.
We're still on board, so we appreciate that. 3 days a week, Jackie still mans that office for us, and she works on our programs for these emergency home repairs. And we pay rent now, Clay. So
it's a win for everybody. We're all making.
I'm giving back some of it.
The only other one I think that and heck, you're going to say it, I guess, is if anybody knows of houses that need it,
please,
he will certainly go and do it. I think you're one of my favorite stories, I guess. We told you at one at the fire hall about a house that had a roof leaking.
Had a blue roof, blue tarp on it. Went straight to it, came back here, reported.
Yeah, like 30 minutes later, here he's walking back in the room. He's like, I went and checked. They don't qualify, but we at least went and checked. I thought that was great.
It was amazing what the income was in that house. But anyway, I will go take care of it straight away. That's good.
John, thank you.
Thank you.
This has worked out well for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do we not have him scheduled? It's okay either way. I got to the exact same point we normally were at with him. All right. What's your name, sir? All right, come on up. Excellent. Come on, whoever would like to come, go to that one. Yes, sir. Virginia Regional Transit, 81601.
Hello. Thank you for having me here. My name is Mike Soha. I'm the transit manager for your Foothills Express that runs from Culpeper into the Charlottesville area. And we're here before you to request the funding of the same amount which was last year. We really want to thank you for your support and the community support, especially during the last 3 years. And we especially want to give a thanks out to all the residents who've been riding the bus. They put up with a lot. They put up with mask usage on the bus. They put up with 50% capacity on the bus. They put up with a 6-foot social distance. And despite what we read in, unfortunately, some of our urban areas, it seems like the rural folks have got it together because they respect respect all those things, they adhere to it. We're excited because we provided uninterrupted service during the last year. And that meant every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the service was provided, showing out of Culpeper into the Charlottesville area. And believe me, I could tell you story after story after story. We have one particular driver that was our employee of the year. Mr. William Shanks was honored and recognized for all his efforts during the year. So we were proud, and I'm proud to announce that he was your driver for Foothills Express. Accident-free, incident-free, and he handled it really well. Ridership continues to grow. I was telling Mr. Thompson just a little while ago that your record has been about 151. It stood there. Well, we went 152 this past January. And that 151 mark was actually pre-COVID. So the ridership in 2018, when this thing started, was 151, and we've already eclipsed it. So we're coming out of it, and we're starting to see some really good surges in ridership. The other thing that's important to point out is that in the Culpeper region, which is really important, they're building a structure down there. It's going to be an official depot for a lot of equipment. And we're now getting phone calls from Gordonsville to ride to Gordonsville to Culpeper to catch the Foothills Express to get to UVA. There's a lot of reasons why they're going to UVA: education, employment, and medical. And medical is actually the number one reason why they're going. I can tell you story after story of what I've heard, what people are being charged coming out of Madison into Charlottesville, coming out of Culpeper to go to Charlottesville. It's pretty astronomical. The fee that you're providing provides a tremendous service to your residents here. I look forward to advancing a little bit further. We're putting signs out now. We haven't sat around over the last 3 years all hiding. We ran right through the fire, and we didn't back off. We're creating new signs which have QR codes on them. You've seen those, you've heard about it, where people now could swipe it and they could see where the bus is in relationship when it would come into Madison, so they could time it and they could plan their daily event. We've talked with our vendor about doing a mass publication of your brochure and doing a mass mailing. And I do have a couple shelters. All those shelters have been short coming to us because of production in the United States, but I do have a couple shelters that are sitting in Culpeper that perhaps if we consider that, we could bring one here to Madison. It's any location if you'd like to choose. Other than that, I will entertain any questions that you might have having to do with the service, but I can tell you, I've been doing this for 31 years, and I will tell you straight up, if it wasn't good for your community, I wouldn't be telling you to invest in it. I'm just telling you that. So started in Farmville and made my way all the way up here. And that's all.
All right, questions? Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you all.
This is the enthusiasm we're looking for. I mean, moving in the right direction. Very positive. All right. Who else is here? What? Are you by chance Mrs. Hedges? Come on up and talk to us about SAFE. Well,
I try to speak as eloquently as my prior person here.
just do it
Thank you
enthusiastically.
for the opportunity to speak with you about our services and what we provide in Madison County and the other 4 counties that we serve. SAFE's been in existence for 43 years, providing shelter support and advocacy to victims and survivors of domestic violence. We're asking for level funding as we have for the past several years. You might wonder what that funding does for us. While 73% of our funding is state and federal grants, those state and federal grants look to our communities to know that you're invested in the work we do. So any amount that is provided shows them that, but it also gives me a little bit of flexibility when someone is trying to flee a violent situation and I need to make a decision about whether they need gas or whether I can give them a train ticket or bus ticket or wherever else to get to someone safe within the community. So as you'll see on the screen, 43 hotline calls from this area, 10 people through court advocacy and other advocacy hours for 102 hours. 3 adults and 2 children for a total of 331 nights and 136 engagement activities reaching, that we know, 782 people. So our mission is not only to provide that safe haven when someone is in need of it, but in addition to that, to try to educate our youth and our communities at large on what domestic violence and sexual violence looks like and how to recognize signs. And I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Which counties do you serve?
We serve Culpeper, Madison, Orange, Rappahannock, and Fauquier counties. We have 2 shelters that are located in the county of Culpeper.
And how many actual employees do you have, not
We-
volunteers?
We have a total of 14 employees, including myself, serving the 5 counties and the courts, as well as the shelters.
Okay.
All right. Other question. I want to ask Chris. Did Clarissa speak real positively of this like 2 years ago? I mean, am I thinking right? All right.
We do work closely with their office.
Yeah.
We're part of their multidisciplinary team and have MOUs with their office as well as the others listed, Sheriff's Department, Victim Witness.
That's what I was thinking. Larry. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I do have a few comments to make about SAFE because a few years back I was involved with some things with them. The church I belong to, we used to go there and do yard work, repair work on the buildings. And actually, back in 2016, I did an IT security audit for SAFE, and it performs a really good function for folks that are probably in one of the worst places in their lives. And I guess if you want to talk about the butterfly effect, the case when I did the IT audit, security audit, it's been the basis of a case study I've used on some of my IT students at JMU, and it's very rewarding to see for people to realize that there are people that are not nearly as fortunate as them, and it provides a good service. And just one thing, make this note, probably appreciate this. Just before Thanksgiving, my wife and I were driving by that facility to go Christmas shopping, and it was pouring down raining. And as we were going by, there was a young lady with a baby that was being admitted to the safe house. And, you know, it's a very sad situation what so many people face, but your facility does a great job. I do want you to know that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
All right. I don't think so either. Call Bonnie. See if we can get this thing done. I've texted Gary. That was a good comment. That really. Yeah. I was glad to hear that. I was unable. You calling Bonnie? That's
Yeah. Right.
yeah. All right, Lindsay's on her way. At least we get Lindsay. Let's see if we can create. Yeah, I assume he's doing okay. All right, just bumps him. Yeah, I kind of figured as much. Just bumps and bruises. Good. Keep him. Yeah, it happens. Keep him close. Call Greg Witcher and tell him we're running ahead of schedule. Are you coming up to this? Yeah, for the budget deal. Yeah, I doubted it too. Send Greg Witcham a text and tell him to come on. Thank you. Yeah, bye.
Says he's feeling pretty good.
Huh?
Says Jimmy's feeling pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, that's positive. And Jimmy's feeling pretty good. She knows. Jonathan. Watch, they're all going to come in here at the same time and wonder why we rush.
Yes, sir.
She know James Compton. That's the way to go.
Sir, we spoke to Fran Broke, Bonnie's tied up, but she is planning on coming. If she could come earlier than her slot.
Lindsay's gone. We're going to play a couple minutes. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Everybody's taking a breather. We're all relaxed.
You're telling me you're not relaxed, Chuck? You look as relaxed as anybody here.
Yeah, there you go. They do a pretty good job. Yeah, they really do. The Willow Hill, the people that used to be up here next to the pizza place, and now out there, oh yeah, they do a good job. They had to. See you, Larry. No, the one they had. You remember they were trying to put their kennel area up there, and that didn't work. And she tried so hard. She like 6 months of coming to meetings, and she was trying so hard to do it. And then she got the old hand-picked Western place, and finally gets it all moved in. First night she's open, fire call. And people driving by on 29, seeing flames coming out the side of the building. I was thinking, first day she's open, this is horrible. Like, how awful. Fire company gets there. It was a fan and a attic exhaust motor on a fan, and it put itself out. So I mean, it ended in a good way at least. She was a patient lady. She does a good job. What kind of dog is Gulliver? All right. It's a good name, too. I'll give you that. That's what you call pig. That's what you call pig. Oh. All right, Galvin, we know him. Yeah, Gavin Helm, come on up here.
Thank you, sir.
We're back at it. Good job. Strong hustle, Gavin. Well, David, we're just glad to see you. All right.
Dad always said it was better to be earlier than late.
That is right.
All right.
Emergency management. Thank you for coming, Gavin.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
All right.
I can't read it. That looks like the correction.
Version 3.
That was after the adjustments. That we
Yeah,
talked about
so
the
we're
other
good
day.
on, we need to show version 3.
I think that's version.
Yes,
We
Okay.
got the drum removed.
yes.
Okay.
All of it's pretty straightforward.
Oh, you're going the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Just kind of walk through some of your increases, Gavin, kind of line by line, if you don't mind. Just
Yeah,
give us
not a problem.
Give us some context, I guess.
Yeah, so let's see, what we got here. Printing stayed the same. Telecommunications is bumped a little bit. We did add sat phones for Brian and I. He had his sat phone under emergency communications previously, and we added one for me last year, so this is just an adjustment to capture those costs in one line item. So the next one, insurance vehicle stays the same, lodging and meals stays the same.
Seminars and
tuitions. We get bumped out a little bit for training. That's where my training comes out of. Most of the training I'm doing right now is covered by FEMA, but that's just a contingency just in case there's something that's not covered by that. The dues is zero. I don't have anything that goes through there. Emergency event expenses, I believe. Did we lower it by
Yeah, you're down $1,000.
I don't think that was intentional.
And now we're going the wrong direction.
That's
Emergency event expenses.
Just to explain what that expense is, that's
Oh, go
like
up.
when we had the January 3rd storm.
I can't see the number. I see the label.
400 is, or no, not, excuse me, it's he wants to adjust up $1,000. It's 5820.
So instead of 5, it's 6.
Yeah, it goes 6.
Okay.
That's fine.
I thought we talked about going down.
Office supplies, I believe that stayed the same.
Nope.
Vehicle equipment fuel, I believe we lowered that a little bit. Just, it was unnecessarily high, but we left it, or did we did lower it.
No, you're low. You're $400 down.
Okay. Yeah. So the next one was, uniforms and apparel, I believe we left that the same. And, I don't have my glasses. So.
You're down on maintenance, $3,500.
Yeah, there isn't really any expected maintenance of vehicles under warranty for the most part. Books and subscriptions, no big changes there. The office equipment, I believe we left that the same. IT equipment, we lowered that because everything would be going through Bruce's budget on there, so we took care of that. And then communication equipment, what that is, the reason that went up is with the new radio system coming online, we expect that there will be some accessories, things like batteries, other stuff that's not provided for in the original purchases. So, and that stuff's really expensive, so don't want to take a chance on that. Motor vehicles, don't have any purchases planned. We had talked about maybe doing the shelter trailer and shelter equipment. We don't need to do that until the generator, if and when it's approved for the high school, then we'll look at it as a federal item for FY25. And then the equipment other, that came down quite a bit when we took the drone off. The 4817 is for stop the bleed kits for all the county buildings and cabinets for all the county buildings, so that we can get that into the courthouses and then public training will take place. That's it in a nutshell.
And it, just since you brought it up, and you probably don't have the answer. The upfitting of like for the radios in all these vehicles, is that, do we have are we capturing that in departmentally, or are we capturing that as far as the whole project? And if you know, I just, no one's ever said, right?
I believe it's captured as part of the project, but it will be accounted for amongst the various departments.
So I'll check with Mr. Gordon. I don't have that answer, but we'll bring that back.
All right. The other one, I think it's just worth mentioning. I know it doesn't have a whole lot of money value tied to it. When we went to the what was the policy? Anything over 300 people? What did we call that one, Gavin? You came up with the whole thing. Events that had over 300 people. It was in relation to the dirt bike race that we had a couple years ago.
Oh, the permitting process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard 0 complaints, and everybody says it's working great.
I haven't heard any complaints at all. I think that we're working on one recently, the one that you sent forward for the Century Ride. And, I think it's working fine.
Everybody,
the whole idea of that, and it was you. Everybody was kind of worried that it was going to be just another government bureaucratic type of process, and it has. It's just gone seamless. I mean, it's
No.
worth mentioning. You know?
Our largest venue, basically, being out in Graves Mountain, they've worked with it beautifully out there and given us a heads up on what to expect.
Absolutely.
So that we can have the proper resources there and available and have that planning going for us. So, I've even got some of the people that go to Graves contacting me directly now to give me a heads up. So speaking of the motocross, he sent me a text the other day and said, "Yep, got 2 events this year." So,
We talk about trying to be proactive. That is like a legitimately good proactive governmental move. I like that a bunch.
yeah, I'm real pleased with having it take place.
Questions for Gavin? Anybody? Dustin, are you still with us? He is. Thank you very much, Gavin.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Gavin.
Chair.
Yes, sir. All right. Miss Oots, come up and talk to us about the library, please. Gary, good to see you.
Yeah, the paper you're going to be getting is from the fiscal year 21, 22. Okay. This is, we don't have this year's complete numbers right down yet. But just to let you know what we're using the county funding for and the donations for and our state aid. Y'all know that I can't use state aid for anything other than books. That's period, point blank. We are asking for a $10,000 raise. And that's honestly to cover just the basics. We've got to cover utilities. The auditor went up 23%. We have to meet minimum wage for three of our employees. So I don't know, how can I help you? Do you have any questions?
Bear with us for a second, Bonnie.
Sure. Gary's breakdown was sent to you earlier. There you go.
Tax returns. Everybody have Bonnie's information.
Mhm.
Am I the only one that's slow? Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. So you're just asking for 10K additional. Last year, what did we do? Was it 7,300 or was it, how much was it last year?
It was 85.
85. All right. Where does this put us, just since we've done this a couple times, where does this put us with the state library group?
Okay. That 8,500
Yeah.
got us where we needed to be
Okay.
5 years ago.
Yeah. So what are they saying now?
Now I have not heard anything. They have not said anything.
All right.
The evidence from them is that we need to keep going forward. We can't stop like we did. Okay. That puts every red flag up in the air.
All right. Gary, Bonnie, what else were you paying attention about from your budget? Anything specifically you want to bring up? In addition, we heard about the state aid, all books. Anybody have any questions for Bonnie? All right.
I mean, Jim's pretty good. He's there. He listens in. He knows what we're doing. We've got summer reading coming up. That is going to cost us an extra $2,000 because the programs, we do 8 to 9 programs a year.
Okay.
They've doubled, almost doubled from what they were last year.
In cost?
In cost.
All right. Okay.
To get the actual shows that we have had in the past, they have doubled. One, I love it, it's the science guys out of Baltimore. They went from 400 to 750.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of their more popular shows. We didn't get them because it did go up to 750, and I just wasn't comfortable spending that kind of money on it. So we got, when we said science people, tail-wise, and they're going to run us about 450,
Okay.
and we'll see how they fit in. So,
Other questions and comments for Bonnie and Gary? I was thinking about you though. I was at the meeting with the town when they wanted to charge you $50 for your sign and your yeah. So your board. So I was thinking about it, and your board member said that y'all do what, 4 of these sales a year?
yes.
I think you just need to put up a permanent sign.
We're working.
Then you're 150 cost positive.
We are working on it.
That's
we
great.
are actually working on it. We had our first meeting yesterday, not yesterday, last week. And we're talking about actually getting permits. So we're there, we're working on it. It's, I think, going to look good. I want something that fits the size of their place. It's the look and the look.
And is it going to be a sign like across the road where you can change it to fit some of your programs and stuff?
It is, but
Okay.
it's not going to be like that. We're actually going to try for, and I may actually
Oh yeah, I know.
have to come back and say the board shot me down. But what I want is a monument style,
Okay.
which is brick, with the Madison County Library, the phone number, our logo, and a changeable signboard below.
There you go.
We need it. That's our best advertisement.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on our website, we're in the Eagle, we do all kinds of things. But that double-sided sign
It's effective.
is our best,
Oh yeah.
best advertisement.
Jonathan, what you got?
Thank you. I've got 3 questions. I think I know the answer on the town. The funding, because I'm looking at the breakdown. So obviously Madison has a portion, town of Madison. That's per capita. Is that why town of Madison's funding is only 1,000?
They've just started giving it to us.
Since Charles started out on the
Yeah, I mean.
But is there a per capita that's part of that formula?
I
Or?
don't know how they broke it down.
Okay.
We just received it as a gift.
And we're appreciative. I just want to see if they're supposed to fund more, then we need to make sure they're doing that. Building maintenance, I see that's up just a little bit. You've done a lot of great landscaping. I've seen that, but on the building, what do you anticipate for that increase? Is it painting or replacing windows?
Carpet.
Carpet, is that?
The carpet in the front has been there since 1968.
I was over for a meeting the other day. I don't disagree. Okay, so carpet.
You don't disagree.
Contracted services is up quite a bit. What is in the
That was the paint contract, painted on the building.
So you have, but it's up for this. Is that this year? 10.5 this year?
Well, cover paint, we also need to paint the inside of the building
Okay. Okay.
too. It's been about 15 years.
It's been since we rebuilt it, which was 2006.
Okay.
It has not been perfect since then. So we're really hoping to do some. The front needs to be done.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
just needs to be done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Thank you very much, both of you.
Thanks, guys.
Right. Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. We're glad that you're prompt though, Jerry. Let's go. Let's do Culver Soil and Water. Greg, come on down. Yes, sir. Oh yeah, everybody's prompt. We get this thing taken care of.
All right. Greg Witch-Elms, District Manager, Culpeper Soil and Water, if anybody doesn't know that already. Appreciate the opportunity to be here, Mr. Chairman, board members, and as always, we appreciate the support we get from Madison County. I don't know how much you know about what's been going on in the world of land conservation management over the last few years, but we are at all-time record highs of activity in just about all of our programs. One example of that would be last year in Madison County, we allocated $1.2 million in agricultural cost share funding to Madison County farmers. Turn the clock back about 4 or 5 years, 1.2 million, 1.4 million. That was about the district's allocation for all 5 counties. So that's just one little glimpse of a lot changing out there. The big driver is the General Assembly has been significantly increasing funding for that program, as well as other programs. Economics currently in Richmond are quite good. And so with that, for about 10 years now, the district has been implementing various federal grants across our 5 counties. Madison has been at the heart of that. Agricultural and septic cost share funding. We've done a tremendous amount of work here in the Robinson River watershed. Over the 10 years, we've done about $430,000 worth of septic business, 700 projects in there. There were 53 new septic systems, 82, I guess it was, repairs. That's partial replacements of systems, and then a tremendous amount of pump outs and inspections. Excuse me, inspections with the pump outs, which we promote quite a bit, rather than just pumping the tank. Why not take a look under the hood? Make sure you're not heading in the wrong direction. What else do I got here? If you're looking over our request for this next year, you'll see it's somewhat slightly less than the current year.
What's going on, Greg Witchum? How have you gone down?
So one of them is about page 4, maybe, of our request package, maybe page 5, is the land development workload. You had 0 site plans reviewed by the Culpeper District during calendar year 22. Okay, so that took that piece of it out. And then the workload calculation of the base formula is you may have gone up. In fact, I can guarantee you went up, but as a percentage of the whole, you went down. So that drives that down a little bit as well. If you look back, got the request here, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Page 5 of our request at the very bottom, you can track about 10 years of Madison funding for the Soil and Water District. You'll see that it goes up and down year to year. And that base funding formula is the district puts its number together, splits it in half, and then the request is allocated to each of the 5 counties based on half population, percent of whole, and the other half is workload previous 12 calendar months. So happens in every county. The numbers go up and down. I think 3 or 4 years ago, the number went up quite a bit for Madison, and then it came back down. So that's kind of how, it's all based on our tracking workload by county. That answer that?
That's the right kind of answer.
Yeah, and you had yeah, that's right. And you had no site plan workload last year, so that was obviously a big thing. I don't have previous years in front of me, but I know there was some.
Questions for Greg and Culver Soil and Water?
My understanding is getting quite a bit more federal money.
We are getting quite a bit more. We, the local district, are getting a lot more state money. Behind the curtain there, I think there's some federal impact that's making that happen. USDA, that's the Natural Resources Conservation Service, our sister organization in the office and in these 5 counties, they are getting increases on the federal side. That would be through the Department of Agriculture. Ours comes out of the Commonwealth.
The cover crop program comes from which side?
Both. Yeah. We pay a lot better. They have offerings we don't offer, like some mixes and whatnot. But if you're looking to do cover crops, you're best off talking to your district, in my opinion. the state program pays fairly well.
Question? Go ahead.
Well, Greg, it's been a while. The septic, you may have covered it, so forgive me. The septic program, is there still funding available to help people with failing systems?
There is. Through our program, which is the TMDL 319 federal grant program, in Madison County, right now, it's only in the Robinson River watershed, and it's only downstream of, I don't know the new name, it was once called Mulatto Run.
Right, pass run.
Pass Run. There
So
we go.
let me rephrase the question then. If it doesn't go to that tributary, is there another part of funding if there's a health violation going on of a septic system that needs to be taken care of? Is there any other funding source through your agency?
Not through us. However, that said, through DEQ and through your local health department, there was federal money that came down. I believe it was somewhat related to COVID. That was entirely different than what we do. Ours is all based on water quality. That was really just economic stimulus money. And they were administering that themselves. It's a little bit, I'm rusty, but a little bit different how business is done, BDH versus DEQ. But I would start with your local health department. They should have a pretty good read on that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
What? Oh, yeah. I was thinking it was you. Just call Tracy and he'll come and pump your tank out. All right. Any other questions for Greg? Thank you very much, Greg.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.
All right. If you don't mind, I'm going to do boys and girls, and I'm going to do y'all. Come on. All right, then skip that. Come on up and talk to us. How many more people are y'all bringing? All right. I'm just curious. No, go to the podium. PRA 71100. Yes.
No, that was fine. Here. Thank you. I've got all of my stuff. Someone will do it. All right, so we are requesting $354,072, which is a little bit of an increase from last year. The biggest things in our budget are in our operations. That first line that contributions matching county last year was $118,000. If you'll scroll down a little bit, we added about $5,000 in our payroll expenses to add one more facility supervisor. We currently have one this year, but our facility needs are a little bit more and a little bit longer. So it's $5,000 there, and now we have somebody to clean the concession stands in the bathrooms and our office. It is that part-time custodian, which is we haven't had much of that used in the last couple of years. So now we have this facility open. So it's 9,000 in staffing. Sorry, 5,000 in staffing. You can keep on going. We didn't change anything in our repairs and maintenance. We just reallocated some of the funding around, but we do have increases anticipated from REC for electricity. So those are about $1,300 in electricity increases. We have nothing really big. Seminars and tuition. I currently travel 2 to 3 conferences a year. The increase is to allow Gary to go to a church management conference. Sort of. Yeah. We anticipate increases in our office equipment, which is our copiers and usage, copies of that.
Do we ever get it worked out? The copy issue?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. There you go. Keep going.
Just a little bit for our event equipment, event supplies, just replenishing some of those things. We did increase our fuel price, $2,000, and our credit card processing fees were allocated to that. So now we are mostly doing credit card purchases and not taking a lot of cash payments for our concessions and new programs and events and stuff. Going down, the last we added in, the rest of the stuff is just PRA updates and projects. So we have an increase for PRA office projects, just 500 there, 500 more for gravel, and then going down, I think 9,000 allocated for new signage, and we can put one of our equipment sheds into the office. Those are the biggest increases we have.
All right. Yeah.
The capital project of the outdoor recreation center will be captured in the overall capital plan for your consideration.
Started on the 23rd, taken to the 2nd.
Taken to the 2nd, may touch on the 23rd, but definitely scheduled for March 2nd.
Y'all coming back to talk to us on the 2nd. There you go. All right, questions for Lindsay and Jerry?
You can, if you like.
So I put in for, we have two mowers, two X-Mont mowers, one that's 12 years old, one that's, one that, well, over 2,000. Replace that. Field rate, we bought it 6 years ago, it was used, we bought it at 2,000 hours. So I bought the picture.
That is a good one. That is what we're talking about. Keep going.
It's in pretty rough shape, I don't know why. But we take care of 10 baseball, softball, and fields. We prepare all the games, parks and rec, high school, we drag, line those fields. Sometimes we go through 6 or 7 fields. The utility pole,
We don't have some miscellaneous vehicle that we could convert, like an old school bus or
Really,
something.
we've already
Jerry's
got
probably.
the candy van.
Yeah.
Gave him a van. So what we need I see equipment. What vehicle are we talking about?
No, he needs a trailer. I was thinking he could do that, maybe like a school bus or something. He's a dairy farmer.
We have accumulated a lot of stuff over the years, and almost all of it was new stuff. We're starting to catch up with us.
So can we go down to the bottom of that page, please? I saw some notes. We may be able to get back in there by the time. Okay.
One of those X-Mons.
What did we sell the last ones for? I mean, we made
Around $4,000 or $5,000.
So we may be able to put that back into one. Okay.
You want to go through this again on and these are, you've got these prioritized the way you want to see them, Jerry.
Yeah. That finishing more was here right before my time. It's two tanks locked, but I guarantee it's going to be an old. The tractor is got close to 6,000 miles on it. That's also like 2 million years.
And we put some fairly substantial money into that tractor. Yeah, probably.
Boss is not too. We have one tractor over to replace, that's over 4 years old.
All that vintage. It's trending. You're gonna add these to the list.
Yes, sir. We
I
definitely.
think they're a little different. But
Well, we can definitely capture the FY24, like Mr. Chairman. I don't know if is PRA board looked at this and made any. So they're in that order. Okay.
put it on for the 2nd. It's gonna be just one item. I think that's the only way we can really get anything out of this.
I've got to spread them out as much as possible.
Quite the list. I hear you. I mean, people use the facility all the time. I mean, it's amazing to me. I don't see dog park on there, so that just makes me happy. People are Chuck. People are out there. People are out there all the time. They use it all the time. It's good. It's good. Anybody got any questions for these folks? Thank you very much. All right.
All right, there you go. Come on up, Graham. Boys and Girls Club.
Good evening, Supervisors. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm pleased to be joined by Board Member Dan Davidson, Board Member Dan Copperton, and Board President Dave Zakara. And it was a real pleasure to have Hardy Owl join us for a tour of our club yesterday. So we're grateful for him taking time to this day to do that. Our request this year reflects $2,000 for annual support. That cost represents the cost of the club of serving one child for the entire year. And that includes every day after school. Our youth development programs run from 2:30 to 7 p.m. after school, and full day services during the summer and during the school breaks. Throughout the entire year, the club serves around 175 to 200 kids, and we are currently serving around 100 kids every single day with our after school services. The club youth development programs are designed to promote academic success, healthy lifestyles, and good character and citizenship. And every kid that comes to the club is greeted by name, and our goal is for everyone to have a plan for their great future after going through the club program. So with that, I'm really excited to turn it over to board member and club parent Graham to share more about the club services.
Well, thanks, James. I'll try to fill in the gaps. I think you pretty much gave us the bottom line up front. But my name's Graham Davidson. I'm a local board member here in Madison for Boys and Girls Club. Also, I have 3 children that are club members. So we, for the past 3 years, have benefited from those services locally, which has been a tremendous value to our family. I just want to echo what James said. We acknowledge that the board here and the local leaders have got a long track record of supporting the Boys and Girls Club. I just want to, from a board member and from a family parent, just thank you all for that. Very fortunate to have local strong leaders who are engaged in our community. A couple things I wanted to bring to your all's attention. Last year we went through this, and one of the questions was, what's the difference between the Learning Center and the Boys and Girls Club? That was a question, and I figured this year we could address that just a little further. It's fairly simple. The Learning Center provides services to basically infant 0 to 4 years old, whereas the Boys and Girls Club is, right up from kindergarten through 12th grade, which is basically your 5-year-olds on up through 12th grade. One of the key takeaways is that there are 100 students that participate daily in the Boys and Girls Club, and there are about 1,000 students in the Madison public school system from the grades K through 8. And the vast majority of the club members that are there on a daily basis are K through 8 students, which makes up for about 10% of our public school students. And, just from a, impacting student lives, he talked about the healthy lifestyles and academic focus and character education, citizenship focus. I think it really does add a lot of value to the community, but it also adds a value from a workforce retention perspective as well. My wife and I are both employees. We're both professionals. Without the Boys and Girls Club and the Learning Center, it would be very difficult for us to continue to do what we do here in the community. And that's the case for many others. And in fact, some who are even less fortunate, who have single family members. A good majority of our the students, the club members, do have just single parent workers. So just keep that in mind. Those are some differentiating factors between the Learning Center and the Boys and Girls Club. Together, they provide a good structure for our community. So I'm happy to answer any questions from a parent perspective if you guys have any, or even from a member perspective. If I can't answer, I'm sure James can.
Anybody? All right. Nan, you have anything to add? That's what I was waiting for. Good job, Nan. Come on, come on. Each group is dancing for an hour. It's a stamina type
That
of
would be
deal. That's
impressive.
what I was going with. Come on. All right, now, yeah, baby. All right. Other questions, these fine folks? Thank y'all very, very much. Well, I think we've whipped this list.
So, Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything else to, I know Jennifer has up on the screen kind of your running tally for today's folks, so you can look at it. And then please note this list, or excuse me, this type of format was in your prior folder. So when you get towards the end, Jennifer will have a running tally of all requests. The next meeting, you have a wrap up of the remaining departments, as well as there might be one or two outside agencies. With that being said, I'd like to take the remainder of that time and start trying to walk through some of these salary requests and the General Assembly, any impact that they have. Realizing that will just be county information we bring to you. We have not sat down with the schools as far as formally with the Board of Supervisors. That meeting is scheduled on March the 9th. So we still have a lot of time, including we need to fit revenues in. Ms. Warren and I have a meeting, our second follow-up meeting with our commissioner and our treasurer. We believe we'll have more inaccurate data on the revenue side, which will really help us put this together. There's a lot of requests. I know you're seeing it already. You haven't even seen health insurance and what this 7% COLA looks like. So I'm very cautious of that. But as soon as we have the revenue and we have some of those other items, I guess my question, Mr. Chairman and the members of the board, on Jennifer's spreadsheet, I think there's a column for county administrator and board. We left that there for, you want to go through the list or I can go through the list and bring back, but any of those adjustments, we would put that in as we work through. So definitely the 23rd and or the 2nd, if you want to start doing some of that, we can as far as adjustments. But we have those columns ready to go. And that's not today, sir, unless you want to. But
I'm trying to figure out when I want to talk. I got one I want to do.
And if you would like that first on the 23rd, we can start going through some of those, or the 2nd.
When are you going after revenues?
Revenues, can you bring that calendar up again? I mean, it should be March 2nd, but if we don't have it listed, it definitely should be the time frame.
Well, 500
Revenues on the March 2nd, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Jennifer.
I don't see how we're going to do all the pay without the revenue component. I mean, it seems like the pay and the capital improvement list both hinge on the revenue side. When should we have the numbers from the state pertaining to the 7%?
There, Okay, the General Assembly is still scheduled to end session February 25th. So just like last year, they were teetering with the 4% or 5%. We were hearing towards the end of the session, they were leaning to the 5. That's what we built your budget around. We have no indication they're backing away from the 7%.
That's good.
And I'm with you, sir. So my comment, you may get to the salaries a lot earlier, because what I have been telling, and I work for you all, is if that 7% is something we're factoring in, those other items are going to have to be foregone. There is no way I myself could present it.
Wait.
Go ahead.
When you say other items, you mean specific adjustments on top of the 7%.
That is exactly what I mean,
Very
Mr.
good.
Chairman. Thank you for clearing that.
No. I just want to make
It's a heavy lift. The schools, again, will have that number, and we're talking 6-figure numbers on both sides. So that's how my method is working, unless you're tracking some way differently. But my message I'm understanding is that you are looking for a budget to come to you without a tax increase. So that's what my goal is that we're working towards.
We don't want to do it. We want him to run it. I think that no matter either way, we need to run it both ways. We need to run it with the 7%, and that includes the benefits across the board. I think that should be broken up between comp and comp board funded positions, and then county funded positions with the flat rate. We can play with it after that. The other one on top of that, I just see these as columns in a spreadsheet, is individual requests that have already been made. And with that, I think that the narrative should be not attached to the spreadsheet. We should be able to finger through, Is there another way we should be doing this? And then of course we do need current salaries.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 4 columns. Y'all are on your game. Figure out if you need 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. So we need any clarification. So we'll have the existing salaries and what those numbers look like when you add the COLA with the fringes.
Yeah.
You also want some comp board
What's a
breakdown.
COLA?
COLA's cost of living.
Yeah. So what are you figuring it at?
That's what the state is tracking at 7%.
Yeah.
So last year we did 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Do that. 7% is COLA.
And last year was 5. They started the General Assembly at 5%, and they have now added 2 on top of that. Generally, how that works, they start having discussions at standard of quality teachers, which leads on to others, and then they started on the compensation or the constitutional officer side for the counties, and it gets to that pitting comp board funded positions and not
I
comp board.
think that we need to run it both ways on this. The current, the 7%, and I think that we should split that based on comp board funded positions and funded positions by the county. And then those, of course, need to have totals behind them. We're not trying to pit everybody against each other. And then the other column would have something about all the requests that have been made.
So with the request been made, we would take the current base salaries and put those requests, show it separately. Do you want to see the 7% in their request?
No.
Okay, I
No.
didn't think so, but I want.
Does anybody want to see that?
Okay.
I have no interest in that. It's 7%. We're doing it one way. The only one that I think that at this point you can probably close out is us, the Board of Supervisors. I don't see any requests that. There you go. I think close us out. We're done.
Okay.
That give you some direction.
Yes. Thank you.
And then we need to get into revenues before we start talking about major capital. and maybe the idea on the capital is things like the cars. I mean, those are necessities, I guess. The other main component, we have a meeting next Wednesday
Yes, sir.
with CIP pertaining to the schools. That number is in excess of $1 million of needed repairs.
Plus 2 buses. I understand they're going to tell us on Wednesday.
Is the grant still available?
I haven't heard about a grant,
That's
but the buses range from, I think, 90 to 110 or 120 a piece.
All right. Sound like we're gonna have a lot of fun here in the next couple of weeks. Anything else we need, folks?
Just wanted to clarify for then, do you want to start reviewing this salary spreadsheet on the February 23rd meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. That is correct. All right. Public comment. Jim, thank you. Yeah, I'm telling you. No closed session. What do you want?
Move to. Second.
Motion made, seconded. Further discussion here, none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Dustin,
Aye.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
We're at 574,000 in new money, not including any CIP. Not including CIP. Yeah, that's a lot of money.